we all kind of felt overwhelmed by these routines. Like, oh my God, all these handsome, successful people being more handsome and successful than I'll ever be. How am I going to live up to this? I can barely get out of bed in the morning.
It's
Careful.
the struggle of working for yourself, man. I think so many
Yeah.
people can relate to that. You are your own boss, you're the master of your own time. And you just got to ask yourself, am I getting it done? If you are getting it done, then good. Because, like, I procrastinate with a lot of stuff that I do. And my wife always gets on me about it. And I would just tell her, hey, did I get it done? Yeah, in the end, you got it done. I'm like, all right.
Yesteryear, YouTube was inundated with all kinds of morning routine videos. Influencers promised that if you wake up at 5 a.m., work out, take a cold shower, meditate, journal, look in the mirror and say positive affirmations, make breakfast, eat breakfast, do the dishes, and then by this time it's 11 a.m. and you haven't actually gotten any work done. But if you do all of this, you will be successful. You will make lots of money. Your life will change. You will finally be happy. You'll get laid. It's all going to be really good. Morning routines promised a lot. They were a bit of a craze, honestly, kind of from TikTok to Instagram to YouTube. There was famous people who had already achieved a level of success who really were promising that their routine was instrumental in their success. And today we're kind of exploring why these morning routines took off, why they get hated on so much, and how they intertwine with actual fulfillment and productivity in life. And of course, I am Grant here with Augie, and this is the Video Creator Show where we talk about how to succeed on YouTube. Let's get into it. Get ready. So, recently, a creator by the name of Brett Maverick came out with a morning routine video that has been made fun of by the likes of Moist Critical and Cody Ko. And essentially, his routine involves waking up at 9 a.m., taking a cold shower, shaving his chest, his face, meditating, making coffee. And he had like two things on his to-do list that day, which was film a video and plan another video, which doesn't really take that long. And he really got a lot of hate for this. It was kind of a glorified Manscaped ad. And to me, this is kind of the perfect, almost parody of a morning routine video. And I think what bothers a lot of people about videos like this is it promises a certain kind of fulfillment. Like, if you do this every day, you will be successful. And it also implies that the person showing you this routine actually does this every day. And I think generally speaking, that isn't true. Like, life is incredibly variable, and you can't really expect to stick to one routine every day if you have normal responsibilities. So, obviously, both Augie and I have had experience growing large YouTube channels, and I'm going to ask Augie if he ever had a morning routine. But from my perspective, I never had one. I've certainly tried. I do find if I exercise first thing in the morning, that can be good. But honestly, it doesn't necessarily make me more productive, but it does make me feel better. Augie, did you ever have a morning routine? Do you have one? I know you have a family, like you have other responsibilities. Is it real?
Yeah, I have a morning routine. I definitely do. It's just, do I do it? Well, it's been a few while since I did my morning routine. So, but I do have one that maybe I got like influenced by the content. No, I definitely got influenced by the content because, I'm in that world. I love that entrepreneurial space, online business, kind of hustle culture. I like that content. Like, I like it. It's, it's something that gets recommended to me. So I obviously have watched it before. But yeah, my morning routine is a 6 a.m. one. Okay, so that's for me. I consider that getting up early, 6 a.m. and work out. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but work out. There's a little bit of journaling. I think is good. Really helps me. I like to do my to-do list right there and listen to a podcast. I like to listen to ones that are not specifically straight about business and YouTube and that kind of stuff, like something different, and journal with that about that. And that's really all it is right there. I drink a coffee just because I drink coffee, but not nothing's fancy there, And then I'd get ready, take a shower, and that's about it, man. That's just like a quick one, but it's all about for me hitting that 6 a.m., starting my day early. Getting that you get more time in the day when you do stuff like that.
Totally. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. And one thing that is true about morning routines is, yeah, if you get up early, you have more time, obviously. And I just feel like, at least for me, as a creative person, I struggle with doing the same thing every day, like starting the same way every day. Like today, I woke up at 7 in the morning. Some days I wake up at like 10. Some days I wake up at like 6. Some days I wake up at 11. It's kind of all over the place, and I don't even think that's ideal necessarily. I have found that when I compare myself to people who claim to have this morning routine every day, it does make me feel worse about myself, and it can actually make me less likely to be productive because I end up hating on myself more. And all of this kind of ties into like the fulfillment of being an entrepreneur or a YouTuber, because this kind of routine lifestyle, it sort of promises this pathway to success that is guaranteed. You know, if you do X, Y, and Z every day, you're going to make $100,000 and or $1 million. And I just think that isn't necessarily realistic. I think we all have different goals, and I feel like fulfillment really comes from your relationship with yourself. And if you're trying to mold yourself according to these honestly usually unrealistic ideas of what your day should look like, it's going to be worse for you. Like I find the fulfilling aspect of YouTube has always come from the ability to express myself. And the best thing I think about working for yourself is the ability to have that flexibility of kind of starting every day differently. That being said, I would love to be more structured. In a way, these routines are a goal to shoot for, not necessarily something that's worth comparing yourself to. So, yeah, I'm curious, Augie, when it comes to fulfillment of working for yourself, like you have your own business, vid shops, you've been a successful YouTuber. Like, what aspect of that did you feel like was actually fulfilling?
Well, to me, it's all about kind of being your own boss, having time freedom. Like that's the fulfilling part of the job and why most people dream of being a YouTuber. Because I mean, I think the word is out now that it's not easy, right? I think back in the day that was the thought that, oh, I'm just going to upload videos and be a YouTuber. But I think everyone understands now at this point that it is a grind. If you get into it, then you're being naive. But still, everyone wants to do it because you get to be your own boss, own your own time, freedom. And so, that's a double-edged sword, and Grant, you can relate to this because you work remote and work for yourself. So you know where I'm going with this. Working for yourself requires a lot of self-discipline, right? That's the one thing. And so I think maybe that's why we see so many people in the entrepreneurial space making these morning routine type things and giving it so much credit because I haven't done my morning routine in a while, and these are not my most productive days. You know what I mean? Something like that. And that's how I feel. So I do think for people like us, the morning routine offers value. And and I always used to think all these kind of things were gimmicks. And you know me, Grant, I'm a basketball coach. I'm what my style is. And when I learned about to-do lists, calendars, this might seem kind of stupid to some people, but when I learned about that, when I learned about routines and habits and stuff, I gave a lot of value to these things. Now, I literally was watching social media yesterday or today, early this morning, I think actually, and a short form video got recommended to me. And it was a morning routine one from some guy. I don't know who it was. Short form videos. We're just watching them and swiping them. But he was talking about 2:45 a.m. wake up time.
Oh my god.
Got to get to the gym by, I think he said 3:30, because from
It's like a
3:30.
prison wake up time.
Yeah, I know. Got to get to the gym by 3:30 because from 3:30 to 4, gym opens at 4. Those 30 minutes I'm journaling, writing my, daily affirmations. 4 a.m. I'm in the gym, 4 to 5. I can't remember the rest, but I was just like, and it was funny because it actually, now that I think about it, was somebody reacting to that video and kind of clowning him.
Mm-hmm.
Like 240. But
As it goes.
yeah, when I see those videos and I see the people in them, they look like military men every time. It's like military man turned entrepreneur. You're waking up at 5 a.m. Like I get that, you know,
Totally.
and just to kind of, okay, so I like I said, I'm giving value to these routines. I like them. I think it's everyone should have it. As a YouTuber, you work for yourself. You need to do that. You need to be on top of it, things. But at the same time, it's like, well, what are we doing this for? What did I start this whole rant about? The freedom, the time freedom. So why are you waking up at 6 a.m. when at your old job you had to wake up at 6 a.m. or even 6:30? Why are you waking up earlier now? Like, so it's kind of like that side too, where you're like, what, you can't work out at 8 a.m. You can't, work out at 2:30 p.m. or something. So, but I think for me, I want to stay with the discipline, and I need to get back into my morning routine.
Definitely. And like, there's a lot to be said about self discipline. I have definitely found that working for myself and the freedom that comes with it can be its own cage. Like, especially, I don't have a family or anything at this point in my life. Like, I live by myself, and things can kind of just turn into a big soup of experience. It's like I don't have anything kind of keeping me organized necessarily. I don't have to take the kids to basketball practice. I don't have a girlfriend right now that I'm going to be hanging out with at night. I have friends I hang out with, and I have things I do at night, but it's kind of, I think, with the state my life is in now, it's so hard to keep things organized that even though there's a lot of freedom there, like, this is why I chose this lifestyle, and there's an irony in that. So I I shoot for a morning routine. I think it has kept me exercising somewhat regularly and meditating regularly, and it keeps me refreshed enough to be successful enough, even though I'm clearly not quite hitting that goal. I like to think, at some point soon, I will be this kind of regimented military man, this sort of perfect hybrid of a creative and, black and white military guy. That would be awesome. But I also think it's important to not beat ourselves up too much. I think that can really make things spiral and make things worse. But yeah, it's like, you don't want to compare yourself too much to others. And I think that is sort of the danger of watching videos like this, is if you do compare yourself, or if you have a normal job and you feel like this isn't practical for you, and you're seeing this person supposedly succeed having this routine that would never be practical for you because you have to be in at work at 8 in the morning or something. It just kind of, you don't want to hate on yourself too much. You really don't. And some of these videos feel kind of braggy at times.
Yeah, no, no, totally. They do seem braggy. But just to kind of bring it back to the video creator side of the podcast, it makes for some good content. It really does, for whatever reasons. I mean, I'm sure you've watched morning routine of some creator that you like, maybe, and that's a good way to do it. I think is, that's an interesting video, someone you actually do follow. But for whatever reason, I've seen a bunch of them. I don't know, maybe you don't like it, but yeah, maybe I'm just assuming that people like it, but I do.
I think people do.
Yeah. You're like, I
Even
don't.
I like it.
You do, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, you did. There was a time until it just became everywhere, right? Like in the early stages of
Yes.
the trend, it was really cool, I thought.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how it was a trend. Like, you would think a morning routine could be kind of a staple video of any successful YouTube personality, but I do think people got sick of them. And it is funny how that works. And at least for me, like, the hardest part of the day, for the most part, is like actually getting out of bed in the morning for me. Like, it's the kind of like, you wake up and remember all the things you have to do, and I'm just like, oh my God. And unless there's something really getting me out of bed, like I have an early meeting or something, I don't know, man. It can be kind of hard to rely on, and I'm not proud of that necessarily, but I also don't find that being ashamed of it helps either. And I do feel collectively we all kind of felt overwhelmed by these routines of like, oh my God, all these handsome, successful people being more handsome and successful than I'll ever be. How am I going to live up to this? I can barely get out of bed in the morning without wanting to. Well, we don't want to get too dark, but it's like, it's
It's the
man,
struggle,
you got to be
Grant. It's
careful.
the struggle of working for yourself, man. I think so many
Yeah.
people can relate to that. You are your own boss. You're the master of your own time, and you just got to ask yourself, "Am I getting it done?" If you are getting it done, then good. Because, like, I procrastinate with a lot of stuff that I do, and my wife always gets on me about it. And I would just tell her, "Hey, did I get it done?" Yeah. In the end, you got it done. I'm like, all right. I just think, yeah, as a video creator, you got to create videos. So I think everybody should try to figure out how to add more routines and stuff into their life. Like the book that I would recommend, Grant, is Atomic Habits. And it's funny that we're recording this right now because that's what I'm into right now. Is I read this book, Atomic Habits audio, and I got the physical too. But it really talks about the psychology, I guess, behind habits and routines and stuff, and how you can, give yourself reward when you do something that you want, and how to make bad habits hard to access, and good habits easy and satisfying, and with rewards, and it just kind of all works together. It's just interesting. But yeah, I mean, one last thing on the video creator side, try it out. Like, I think that's a fun video to make, and I think it's a fun exercise to think about. And I think the biggest value to me in the morning routine is getting some time by getting up early, and also the exercise. If you can exercise, just get a quick, like, that's to me, that's what it's all about. You're getting up a little early so that you can fit in a workout, because that's longevity. And we're always talking about what's the most important thing. The most important asset is time. And we already talked about how owning your time freedom. And so the way to get more time is with longevity and health. So, and getting up and making that a daily thing, is getting that workout in, is going to give you 10, 20 years, hopefully, on the end of this life. So that's how I look at it. And that's the reason I wanted to do it. And I was on my health kick, and I wanted to do it because I'm looking for longevity, man.
Totally. And I think that's one thing I've noticed too, is when I sacrifice health in order to be more productive in the short term, it always ends up like kicking me in the long term. And it's almost like, as much time as these morning routines seem to take and as easy it is to clown on them, it's I do think they give you longevity. You're taking some extra time out of each day. And yeah, maybe that day, if you didn't work out, you could have gotten an extra couple hours of work done. Maybe. But the problem with that is you end up borrowing from your health. And then, a couple weeks down the line, you've barely moved in 2 weeks. Your body's not happy. Now you're going to get a lot less done that week. So I think it is very long term thinking to actually prioritize these things as much as you possibly can. If you don't have that kind of physical mental reset as often as you can do it, it is going to shoot you in the foot for sure. And it's kind of funny how that works. Like Mr. Beast, he kind of opened up about this. He started getting overweight, he said, and feeling unhealthy. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to work out every day. I think he has like one off day a week or something. And he was kind of complaining about the workout because it takes a lot of time. By the time you get to the gym and work out and shower and eat breakfast, I mean, that takes like 2 to 3 hours. It's a big chunk of time. But I think that's going to give him a lot more longevity. I think it allows you to make better decisions because your brain is just working better. And it's really like almost a quality over quantity thing that is going to carry you into the future better. But again, we're not all Mr. Beast. We're not all the black and white military guy, and we don't want to hate on ourselves too much. It's like a goal to work towards. It's not something to compare ourselves to. And that's kind of how I see these morning routines, and I'm kind of glad I don't see them anymore. I feel like I absorbed their essence by watching them when they were really popular, and now they're kind of like in the back of my head. And that's a good place for them to be. I don't think they should be in the forefront. I like that they're in the back. The fact that Brett Maverick came out with this video that people are clowning on, honestly, it's funny. It's just kind of funny. Like, I don't know, he doesn't seem like a bad dude or anything. It's just like, he's just this handsome man with this silly routine that seems sort of pointless, and it's funny, and I like that. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, I think I need to hire somebody to do like a clean sweep of the interwebs and just give me all the morning routine videos. Let me just start a new channel. Let me just do reaction videos to all these morning routine videos. I wonder how many are out there. There's got to be a lot. I could probably get 1,000 videos. That would be interesting. Not even just clowning them and reacting to them, but just analyzing them. That actually, you know what? I think there is some content out there that is like that. But yeah, like analyzing morning routines. I don't know. That's niche.
Reacting to morning routines for 10 hours straight. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a viral video right there.
Yeah, yeah.
You can thank us.
You turn
later.
into David Goggins doing that. You know David Goggins?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, he that's probably what happened to him. He probably watched like 10 hours straight morning routines and just turned into a machine. And that guy is a machine, dude. Oh my gosh, he's intense. But yeah, I don't know what he probably has some famous morning routine, honestly. I bet you people do it.
Yeah, I think he says he starts every day by running at least 12 miles, and then he gets home, goes to the gym, works out, and then meditates, and then stretches. The last couple might not necessarily be in that. Maybe he stretches and then meditates, but he definitely has like a thing he does every day. He starts every day with running, he says, because he hates it, which actually is pretty interesting. If you can do something you hate first thing in the morning, then it's like, well, you've already done the hardest part of your day. Like you did the thing you hate. And there's a lot of power in that, I think, because it does feel like, man, every day it can feel like we're starting from scratch, right? You kind of wake up and maybe you wake up on the right side of the bed and now you're that person, or maybe you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And it's almost like every day you're this person who isn't the same as you were yesterday. And you kind of have to figure out, how do I configure this person to have the best day that they can have? And I do think the consistency of a routine, if you can find one, is good. And maybe it is just doing something you hate. Maybe you do your taxes in the morning.
No, don't do that. No. Uh,
Never, never.
yeah, no, doing something you hate first thing. Yeah, I mean, it's all about that's tough, that's mental toughness. And that's, a lot of the morning routine is about too, people cold plunge. Like that's the thing now, right?
Mm,
You cold plunge
yeah,
it,
yeah.
4:45 a.m. cold plunge outside in the snow. Come on now. There's something to it, there's something to doing something hard in the morning. I heard somebody on a podcast say that they wake up every day and they box. Oh, just hop out of bed, put it on, hop into the ring, about to just, put some brain cells on the line real quick and, have to fight. That's a crazy way to start your day. After that, you're just like at some board meeting, someone says something and you're just like, huh, all right, no problem. I don't care. I just got beat up this morning.
Yeah, I feel like there's that. Like, you wake up and you box, you wake up and you run, you wake up and you do something you hate. And then there's the opposite side of the spectrum where, like, there's a channel I like. Her channel's called The Witch of Wonderlust. She's kind of like this witchy channel. She does all kinds of interesting stuff. And she actually had a morning routine video, which was basically the opposite energy of everything we've talked about in this podcast. She basically she wakes up, makes some tea, drinks it, listening to a podcast for like an hour, kind of flipping through books, chilling, hanging out, relaxing, and then she gets into the day. And but I think her personality is not the same as like David Goggins. It's not the same as, like, we're all kind of different, and I do feel like we have to cater to ourselves to a certain extent. There also might be chapters of our lives. I like, there was a chapter of my life where I was working like 50, 60 hour weeks. Now I'm working a lot less than that, and kind of my priorities have shifted. And I do think it's okay to, like, you're not doing the same thing at 30 you were doing at 25. You're not doing the same thing at 35 you were doing at 30. And your routine might kind of shift and evolve, and that's okay. I think that's good. And you got to know yourself in who you are in this chapter of your life.
Yep. And, like you said a minute ago, you used to work the 50-hour weeks and stuff, and now you don't. It's like, yeah, what are we doing this for? Where's the fulfillment? Is YouTube fulfilling career? Is it a fulfilling job? It's like, yeah, because you get to own your own time. That's, to me, that's why it is. That's like, I mean, like I said, I coach, so there's parts of my life and my time that I don't own. And I used to teach as well, and at that point it was, my time was really owned, and it was fine. It is fine because it's, that's how you earn a living and you make a difference in the world and stuff. But just kind of the contrast that I'm able to see now that I am still coaching, but not teaching. It's like, okay, yeah, my time is way freed up, but it's still not that free. Like, I can't just move if I wanted to, or I can't, my location's locked a little bit. But I enjoy coaching, right? That's why I do it. It's like, it's fun, so I'm willing to say, okay, I can't, go on vacation at this time of the year because I have, responsibilities. So, but the YouTube thing is fulfilling because you get that time freedom. I'm telling you, man, that's what it's all about.
You do. And I think one thing that I found about it is, if you work, like when I worked a normal job, It felt like my day had like a moderate level of satisfaction. It didn't go like too high or too low. And sometimes having to go into the office would really drive me crazy and that can really suck. But there was something nice about like, this is when you're working, this is when you're not working. And I think it's easier to have a sort of like standard life that feels pretty okay, at least. You know, it's not going to be too bad or too good necessarily. Whereas working for yourself, it can feel like the stakes are higher. Like if you get it right, it's like you're on cloud nine. You had the perfect day, you did exactly what you wanted to do, you got it done, you feel great about yourself. Or you kind of you succumbed to the freedom, became its own cage, and now you're kind of like you're hating on yourself for it. And I find you're more prone to roller coasters, I would say. And that's just kind of something to be aware of, is like the ups and downs can be a bit more. I think I sort of like the variation of that, the excitement of that, the drama of that. And I don't know, I think that's maybe a bit of immaturity talking. Like, why would I, who likes drama except for drama queens? I don't want to be a drama queen. But yeah, the stakes can feel higher working for yourself.
Oh, stakes are way higher. Yeah, I mean, there's this like underlying pressure that's different than having a job, a regular job where you got that guaranteed income and all that kind of stuff. But for me, in my experience, like working full time was more up and down, right? So let me kind of flip it on you there and tell you how it's more up and down. Because when you're working, to me, stress was higher. Now, although I just said, you know, there's a lot of stress, you have some stress as, you know, working for yourself and all that kind of stuff. But to me, you know, that's only if I get in my own head, you know, like I'm not going down that path very often. I'm staying more positive. And also when I'm working for somebody, you know, I got to perform and, you know, I feel like I got to watch my back. I got, you know, there's more ups and downs in that where I have like a really good day where everything went fine. It was actually fun, right? Because when you, as a teacher, you have some fun some days, you know, you got, you know, just a fun day. And but definitely some hard and stressful days too. But you know, and so you're kind of down during the week, just kind of trying to get through it. It's hard. But then once the weekend hits, you're up, right? And you're like, oh, Friday evenings when you're working a full-time job are the best. Saturday mornings are the best. Sunday is the greatest day ever. And then it's kind of back down when you go back to work on Monday, unless you have a fun day, you know. And so when you're working for yourself, to me, it's a lot more just you're on 50 all the time, right? Every day is kind of the same day, right? When you have what's, you know, Wednesday is the same as Saturday, it's the same as Sunday, unless you are smart about it and really carve out your time, right? If you can really carve out your time and do it the right way, then okay, good. Then good for you. But from what I see, like my weekends used to be a lot more like I would have to make plans. I would be thinking about it all week. Now it is actually, I do feel a little boost because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be on the computer 8 hours today or, you know, do it now. I'm gonna, you know, if I do work on a Saturday, you know, I can minimize it a little bit. But anyways, that's kind of my take on it is, yeah, you just don't get those great, you know, all of a sudden it's Christmas break when you're working for yourself. So that, you know, that can be tough too, actually.
Yeah, I feel ultimately with all of this, we're all different. We are in different chapters of our lives. We have different personalities. We have different goals. And ultimately, I like that I watched all the different morning routines, whether it was the bang, bang, bang ones or it was the, hey man, be nice to yourself in the morning and kind of chill out. Like, it kind of opened me up to, like, oh, how do other people start their day? How do other people feel good about themselves? Like, what does it take to do that? And really, I just find, as long as you aren't overly comparing yourself to someone that you perceive as more successful and more happy than you, as long as you're looking at yourself as the individual that you are and you're striving to improve, even if, you know, some days not you're not checking all the boxes that you wanted to, that's okay. Like, don't compare yourself to these videos that are probably exaggerated. Like, they, you know, when somebody's traveling, are they actually doing all this stuff? I mean, probably not. It looks different. And I think it can be unrealistic. So, yeah, I just want to get that out there that you are you, your priorities are your own, and don't let somebody who needed to crank out some content let you feel like your life should be a certain way. But also take some inspiration when you can, and, you know, try new things. I think it can, like, what if I did wake up at 6 in the morning and work out first thing. I think did try that a few times. I've done that a few times. I actually did it on Monday, and it felt great. And these videos kind of normalized it, but I don't take them too seriously. And I think that's a good note to end on, Be inspired, be yourself, strive to be better, but don't take these videos too seriously and assume that this morning routine video that was made 2 years ago is exactly what this person is doing now.
And hey, figure if you want to go ahead and make your own morning routine video, why not? That could be fun. Hey.
I agree with that. I want to see it. Send it to us, please.